Welcome on in, everybody. The Auburn Undercover YouTube channel, auburnundercover.com. Nathan King here with Jason Caldwell. Try to get our pregame preview in pretty quickly before we get cut off by them playing
testing music.
swag surf again. Jason, it is the SEC opener here at Jordan-Hare Stadium, a game that carries maybe a little bit more intrigue than we may have thought just a few weeks ago. For Auburn, obviously, it is the first big test for Mr. Hank Brown there at quarterback, and on the other end, Arkansas's got a dynamic offense, maybe a little bit of an inconsistent offense.
Yeah.
SEC's leading rusher, dynamic quarterback. It's going to be a game where Auburn's going to probably have to score some points to keep up.
Yeah, I think this is a line of scrimmage game first and foremost. I think obviously Auburn has to slow the running game down of Arkansas, and that's quarterback run included. You're going to have to put the ball in Taylor Green's hands and make him throw it to beat you. He's not a great percentage thrower. Now, he makes some big plays, but a lot of those come because of their success running the football. So for Auburn defensively, I think we'll see more than 3 guys at the line of scrimmage today, first and foremost. I don't think you'll see 7, 8 full-on blitzing because he's such a dangerous runner, but you got to slow the run game down. The other side, you mentioned it, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to put the ball in Hank Brown's hands and make him throw it, try to get Auburn in 3rd and long. I think short, easy passes early and downs to kind of get the chains moving a little bit may be the key for Auburn today.
Yeah, I think this is a big game for the coaching staff. I think this is a big game for game planning over the course of the week, scheming up something to help Hank Brown out, because I think, and we'll talk about it here, you got to get Jarquez Hunter rolling in this game. You mentioned line of scrimmage. I think Auburn's offensive line feels like they're in a good spot. If Too Tall Miller can play from left to right, you're in a position now where you have that starting offensive line you had all the way back in the spring. It's the group that you thought you'd be going with moving forward. We've seen bursts from Jarquez Hunter. It's funny, he feels like he's almost kind of flying under the radar. I think he's the SEC's number 4 rusher right now. This has to be a game where they establish him early and often, because Hank Brown is going to have to make some big throws in this game, but you certainly don't want to put a bunch of pressure on him over the course of 4 quarters.
No, obviously you're going to have to run the football at some point. I think throwing it early may help to do some of those things, so to lighten that box a little bit, get Arkansas backed up some. I think it may take that early on, and so success early on passing for me, I think passing sets the run up today if you're Auburn. And so yeah, you got to be able to run the football at some point. If you don't and it's all on Hank Brown, then that's going to be a really tough ask.
We would expect Cam Coleman, I think he was upgraded to probable last night on the SEC availability report, would expect him to play here. Auburn's guys in the secondary. Talk about that matchup a little bit. It's going to be interesting chess match between DJ Durkin, Auburn's defensive coordinator, Bobby Petrino over there at Arkansas. These guys faced each other every single day at Texas A&M last year. This is going to be a game where we talked to Isaiah Rakes, the defensive tackle this week. He said teams haven't just tried to run the ball at Auburn yet. This is, like you said, a line of scrimmage game. I think Auburn is looking forward to seeing what they can do in this type of game on defense. At the same time, there were some concerns raised by the game last week against New Mexico. Their quarterback hung around outside the pocket, was slithery, was able to get away, create some plays downfield. From talking to Auburn's defensive players, that was the focus this week, how to contain a guy like that. It's going to be a big game for this Auburn secondary that struggled maybe a little bit early this season.
And I think a big part of the secondary today is going to be coming up, not in run support, but in short passing game support. We've seen teams really hurt Auburn in the flats, using the short passing game, tight ends, backs out of the backfield. Bobby Petrino will do those things in play action. He'll do that. He'll get it going. So I think when you look at it, I think that's one of the keys. You're right. Can do that and tackle really well. Can Auburn tackle well today? If you tackle well today, then you're going to be in good shape.
We successfully scared off the swag surf, by the way. They thought about trying it, didn't try it.
Like they saw my anger.
We talked about the offense a little bit. Travis Williams, that's also another really intriguing part of this game. 104 games here at Auburn as a player, coach, assistant coach, an analyst. On the home sideline, now for the first time he comes on the visiting sideline. So you can imagine he's going to dial up some pressure, try to get Hank Brown in trouble in this game. Jason, this is a big one overall, I think, for Auburn's confidence early this season. You certainly don't want 2 losses in September. This was a 5-game homestand for them. They felt like, hey, 4-1 or better, you're in a really good spot moving forward the rest of the season. I think there's a fair bit of pressure each way because, Sam Pittman, some people thought they might make a decision last year. They decided to keep him on as head coach. I think both teams are kind of feeling it here in this early game, this first SEC game of the season, and a win would be big for both sides.
Yeah, no, it's a big game. Already the losses for both teams, SEC opener for both teams, knowing what's ahead for both. This is a really important game. Obviously for Auburn being a home game, it makes it doubly important. And so, this is a really big game early in the season for both these teams.
We'll cut now and bring in a little bit of a recruiting update with our recruiting reporter, Christian Clemente, to talk about the visitors on campus today.
Yeah, Jason, it's another huge weekend.
It is.
It's another weekend where Deuce Knight is here because I feel like he has lived at Auburn to start the year. However, he still lives on Notre Dame's commit list, technically.
Yeah.
And, we'll see where things go from here.
Yeah, it's really interesting that, and expected to be back next week as well for the Oklahoma game.
Official visit.
Yes, official visit for him next weekend. And so you start thinking about how many times he would have been on campus. I think the only thing we're waiting on, Auburn's waiting on, probably Notre Dame too, is this for Deuce to go, hey, I'm out, I'm in Auburn. Telling somebody no's hard. It really is. You built relationships, all these things. I think that's the point now that we're at, is like, just, hey, got to get over the finish line. And so I think Auburn's waiting for Deuce Knight to get over the finish line.
Yeah, and then a couple of names that we've seen on campus already this year, they're going to be back as well. Name offered. Just got to see him last night. A very athletic cornerback committed to Ohio State, 5-star. Expected back in today.
Yeah.
Talked to him last night. He said, I'll probably be there, but don't say for certain yet. Talked to someone already this morning and said, probably going to be expected in.
Yeah, no, big deal. Obviously getting Name back on campus. Really well, really athletic. We saw him last night against a good Carrollton team, and having him continue to come back again, it's the same thing. More familiarity, more relationships, more a feel for the atmosphere. So getting Name back in would be a big deal.
Touch on a couple other guys real quick. Sam Turner, he'll be back at the Georgia Tech wide receiver commit. He visited for the Cal game, caught plenty of attention because he was brutally honest after the game, said not a great passing attack, and as a receiver, I don't like to see that. And then Darion Smith, the Tennessee defensive tackle commit, teammates with all those guys at St. Francis. Jason, opportunity to make a move with Darion Smith. Just keep chipping away at
Recruiting, whether it's Deuce Knight, Caleb Cunningham, Sam Turner.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, 5-star wide receiver. Whoever it is, I wrote about it this week. We talked about it this week. You need the offense to step out and be the offense that people kind of hoped it would be. That starts today against Arkansas. Now they played pretty good defense at times. They've also given up some yards at times. And so can you come out today and be that scoring machine offense that we've heard and talked about? They've got some weapons outside to do it. Today's the day. It'd be a good day to start that for sure.
Yeah, I completely forgot about Caleb Cunningham. When there's a bunch of 5-stars and a bunch of young, talented recruits, it's easy to forget one name, but Caleb, worth mentioning, committed to Alabama. Auburn was his leader at one point in his recruiting process, trying to chip away now. A potential addition of Deuce Knight we think would help Auburn. It wouldn't be the deciding factor, but it would certainly help. So it's good to have both those guys on campus today, and then Jason basketball, another couple guys as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, a couple of big-time visitors, a couple more top 30 prospects on campus for Auburn basketball this weekend. That'll be five top 30 prospects in the last couple of weeks, and then you had in-state players as well. So another big basketball recruiting weekend is start to inch towards some possible decisions for some of these guys that have been on campus the last few weeks. So check it out. We all have coverage of that. Football, obviously, big game today as well.
Yeah, so everything's at auburnundercover.com, and we'll see you guys again.